Have you ever heard of a gorilla that could drive a car, make jokes, knew over 1,000 words, and even took care of a pet cat? What if I told you that this gorilla had fascinating things to say about death and even had an answer about what happens after it? But beyond all that, before she passed away, she had a message that she shared with the whole world in sign language, one that will amaze you and send shivers down your spine. On July 4, 1970, a gorilla was born at the San Francisco Zoo, one very different from all other gorillas and indeed from all animals. This gorilla was a being that resembled humans not only physically but also mentally and emotionally. Coco could communicate with humans through sign language, express her emotions, and articulate her feelings clearly. She could easily convey all kinds of emotions from anger to love, from sadness to joy, and did so with a human-like consciousness. Coco also had some peculiar, and some might say unusual, obsessions. For example, she had a fascination with nipples. Coco, who saw herself as a queen, was a gorilla who could make jokes, drive a car, and even create new words. She had many pets and formed strong bonds with them. She also made thought-provoking statements about death. In intelligence tests, Coco was found to have one of the highest IQs among animals, ranging between 70 and 90. For reference, the average human IQ is around 90, with Japan having the highest national average at 106. Before she died, Coco left a chilling message to the world, as if she had a deep knowledge of human history. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more stories like this. Coco was born on July 4 in a zoo in California. Her childhood was far from typical for a gorilla. It was a challenging journey. In her early months, Coco suffered from a life-threatening illness and was the 50th captive gorilla born in the zoo. Due to her illness, she spent her infancy without her mother. A caretaker was assigned to look after her until her treatment was completed. When Coco was finally reunited with her mother rejected her, refusing to treat her as her own offspring. This left Coco abandoned and alone in a massive cage filled with unfamiliar gorillas. But one day, a young female student wanted to take Coco under her wing. Penny, a psychology student, became Coco's caretaker and tutor. She wanted to teach Coco as part of her doctoral research. She first started working on teaching her sign language and administered various intelligence tests, which Coco passed surprisingly easily. The fact that she learned sign language so quickly demonstrated her high mental capacity. Coco had an extensive vocabulary of 3,000 words. Coco, look, there are stars. Can you find the eyes in this picture? Right, those are the eyes. She could express 1,000 words in sign language and understand an additional 2,000. In other words, she could grasp abstract concepts like a human child, comprehending terms such as good, bad, fake, and real, as well as nouns, verbs, and adjectives. The first word she learned was queen, because Coco saw herself as a queen. When referring to herself, she used the word queen instead of her name. Coco didn't just learn what she was taught, she also created new words on her own. For example, no one had ever taught her the meaning of the word ring, but she combined the words finger and bracelet to invent the term finger bracelet for herself. Coco had a remarkable sense of humor. She frequently played both verbal and physical pranks on people. Once she pulled Penny's hair and then signed sorry while laughing, just like a mischievous human child. Her ability to joke demonstrated her theory of mind, the understanding that others have thoughts, emotions, and perspectives different from one's own. That was Coco. Here's an example of a verbal joke Coco made to Penny. Me Coco. I'll tell you. You want to know who I am? Penny is a human. Theory of mind is the ability to understand the emotions, intentions, beliefs, and mental states of others, an ability typically unique to humans. This can be defined as empathy. Coco possessed this ability, allowing her to joke and express emotions in a way that was uniquely human-like. Coco could even drive a car. These abilities showcase her extraordinary intelligence and human-like characteristics. Aside from her intelligence, Coco also had a strange obsession: nipples. Whether male or female, Coco wanted to see people's nipples and sometimes touch them. In 2005, 3 female caretakers assigned to care for Coco filed a lawsuit, claiming that they were forced to comply with her requests. Coco made these requests using sign language. Gorilla experts stated that other gorillas did not exhibit a similar fascination. Coco's most exciting moments were just beginning. Initially known only by Penny and her small circle, Coco suddenly became famous worldwide. Coco's mirror selfie remains world-famous today. She even appeared on the cover of National Geographic magazine. From that day on, Coco became a global icon. Many celebrities, including Leonardo DiCaprio, visited her just to meet her. The famous comedian Robin Williams also met Coco, and they formed a close bond. Coco's concept of friendship, however, was quite unique. By the age of 19, she had accomplished something most other gorillas couldn't. She passed a test of self-recognition. Normally, when a gorilla sees its reflection in a mirror, it doesn't realize it's looking at itself. Instead, it perceives the image as another gorilla, but Coco immediately recognized herself and often examined her own reflection. This was a crucial sign of her extraordinary self-awareness, something extremely rare in apes. Coco loved watching movies, and her favorite film was the Italian production Tea with Mussolini. Every time she watched the saddest scene, where the child says goodbye to his family, Coco would turn away, unable to watch. This was yet another example of her deep emotional world and empathy. She was so moved by Jurassic Park that she even started approaching her dinosaur toys with fear. Once again, this revealed the depth of Coco's emotional intelligence and how she perceived the world around her. One Christmas, Coco told Penny she wanted a kitten. Initially, Penny was concerned that Coco might accidentally harm a kitten, so she gave her a plush toy instead. But Coco immediately realized it wasn't real, tossed it aside, and used sign language to express her sadness, insisting on a real cat. Eventually, Coco was allowed to choose from a litter of abandoned kittens. She picked the smallest one and named it All Ball because it looked like a tiny ball. Coco treated All Ball as her own baby, even attempting to nurse it. Despite her massive size, Coco was incredibly gentle with All Ball, always careful not to hurt it. She adored All Ball and formed an intense emotional bond. But one day, tragedy struck. All Ball was hit by a car and killed. When Coco was told about the accident, she reacted with deep sorrow. She signed words like sad and bad to express her grief. Coco, All Ball was hit by a car. I went in right away and said, Coco, something's happened to your kitty. You won't be here anymore. After All Ball's death, Penny noticed that Coco emitted sounds similar to human crying for several days. She was mourning the loss of a beloved companion. Years later, one of Coco's caretakers showed her a skeleton and asked, is this alive or dead? Coco signed, dead. The caretaker then asked, where do dead gorillas go? Coco calmly signed, a comfortable hole. Then she blew a farewell kiss. Just a few days later, on a morning in June 2018, Coco passed away in her sleep at the age of 46. And now here is the chilling message Coco left for humanity before she died.